Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supreme human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna,
Shrinvatam Krishna,
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha,
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha,
Vidyantasto Vadrani,
Vidyantasto Vajrani,
Vidunoti Suritsatam,
Vidunoti Suritsatam.
Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, plants his desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear its messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly enchanted. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu,
Nashta Prayeshu,
Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya,
Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya,
Bhagavati
Bhagavati Naisloke, Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki.
My regular tenets in passing down the body account and my regular service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of God who is praised with the transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Now we have a reading of Srimad Canto 2, Chapter 4, entitled The Process of Creation, verse 14. Namo,
Namo,
Namas,
Namaste, Stu, Rishabhaya, Sattvatam.
And that's Stu and Rishabhaya is going to be tricky, but the Stu is a V and the R with a dot under it is a vowel. So Rishabhaya, like that, Rishabhaya. Namo Namaste Rishabhaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Rishabhaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Rishabhaya
Namo
Namaste
Namaste.
Satyavaya Sattvatam.
The STV goes in front of the RSA.
Yeah, yeah. It's that way? Is it? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is tricky to say. It's not like English, though.
2, 4,
It's one of the
14.
things. Srishabhaya.
Shrish.
Srishabhaya. Okay. Vedura.
Vidura.
Astaya.
Kastaya.
Muhu.
Mahu.
Yoginam.
Yoginam. Yoginam.
Vidura Kashtaya Muhu Yoginam.
Vidura Kastayam Yoginam.
Nirasta.
Nirasta.
Samyatishayena.
Samyatishayena.
Radhasa.
Radhasa.
Nirasta Samyatishayena. Radhasa.
Nirasta Samyatishayena. Radhasa.
Swa.
Swa.
Damani.
Damani.
Brahmani.
Brahmani.
Ramsyate.
Ramsyate. Namaha.
Swadamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha.
Swadamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha.
Namo Namaste Strishabhaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Shabaya Sattvatam.
Vidura Kastaya Muhu Yoginam.
Vidura Kastaya Madhu Yoginam.
Nirasta Samyati Shayena Radhasa.
Rasta Simsaya.
Swadamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha.
Swadamani Brahmani
Namaste
Ramsyate.
Namaha.
Namo Namaste Strishabhaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Shivaya Sattvatam.
Vidura Kastaya Muhu Yoginam.
Vidura Kastaya Mahur Yoginam.
Nirasta Samyati Shayena Radhasa.
Nirasate.
Swadamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha.
Swadamani Brahmani
Ramsyate Namaha.
I think it should be Ramsyate Namaha.
On that third line,
Yeah.
the SAMY, how you pronounce? Sayam.
Samyati Shayena.
Samya.
Samyati Shayena.
Samya. Tishena.
Okay, go ahead, please. Who's next?
Namo Namaste Sharishvaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Sahasrabhaya.
Vidura Kashtaya Muhu Yoginam.
Vidura Kastaya Mahur.
Virasta Samyati Satyena Radhasa.
Narastate Samya.
Swadharmani Brahmani Namasyate Namaha.
Swadamani Brahmani Ramsyate. Namo Namaste Swabhaya Sattvatam.
Namo
Namaste
Namaste
Swabhaya
Shabaya
Natam. Vidura Kasteya Mahukya Yoginam.
Vidura Kashtaya Yoginam.
Naraste Samyat Shena Radhasa.
Nirasta Samyati Satyena Radhasa.
Swadamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha.
Swadhamani Brahmani Namasyate Namaha.
Namo Namaste Srishabhaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Swadharamatam.
Vidura Kashtaya Muhu Yoginam.
Vidura Kastaya Mahukya.
Nirasta Samyati Shayena Radhasa.
Narasta
Svadamani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha.
Swadamini Brahmini Ramsyate Namaha.
Namo Namaste Sarvashvaya Sattvatam.
Namo Namaste Swasvaya Sattvatam.
Vidura Kastaya Muhu Yoginam.
Vidura Kastaya Mahukya Yoginam.
Nirasta
Nirasta-sangyati satena tatasa.
Shradamani Brahmani Ramshayate Namah.
Swadhamani Brahmani Ramyase Namaha.
Okay. Word meanings. Nama, namate.
Nama Namate.
Let me offer my obeisances unto you.
Let me offer my obeisances unto you.
Astu.
Astu.
Ar.
R.
Rishabhaya.
Drishabhaya.
Unto the great associate.
Unto the great associate.
Sakyatam.
Bhagavatam.
Of the members of the Yadu dynasty.
Of the members of the Yadu dynasty.
Vidurakashtaya.
Vidurakashtaya.
One who is far from mundane wranglers.
One who is far from mundane wranglers.
Muhu.
Mahu.
Always.
Always.
Ku yoginam.
Ku yoginam.
Of the non-devotees.
Of the non-devotees.
Nirasta.
Nirasta.
Vanquished.
Vanquished.
Samya.
Samya.
Equal status.
Equal status.
Atishayena. By
Atishayena.
greatness.
By greatness.
Radhasa.
Radhasa.
By opulence.
By opulence.
Swadhamani. In
Swadhamani.
his own abode.
In his own abode.
Ramani.
Ramani.
In the spiritual sky.
In the spiritual sky.
Ramsyate.
Ramsade.
Enjoys.
Enjoys.
Namaha.
Namaha.
I do bow down.
I do bow down.
Okay. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto he who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. Please repeat. Let me offer my respectful obeisances.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances
Unto he who is the associate
unto he who is the associate
of the members of the Yadu dynasty.
of the members of the Yahoo dynasty
And who is always a problem for the non-devotees.
and who is the problem.
He is the supreme enjoyer
He is the supreme enjoyer
of both the material and spiritual worlds.
of both the material and spiritual worlds.
Yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky.
Yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky.
There is no one equal to him
There's no one equal to him
because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable.
because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable.
There are two sides of the transcendental manifestations of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. For the pure devotees, he is the constant companion, as in the case of his becoming one of the family members of the Yadu dynasty, or his becoming the friend of Arjuna, or his becoming the associate neighbor of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, as the son of Nanda Yashoda, the friend of Sudama, Sridama, and Madhumangala, or the lover of the damsels of Rajavuni, etc. That is part of his personal features. And by his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of the Brahmajyoti, which is limitless and all-pervasive. Part of this all-pervasive Brahmajyoti, which is compared to the sun's rays, is covered by the darkness of the Mahatattva, and this insignificant part is known as the material world. In this material world, there are innumerable universes like the one we can experience. And in each of them, there are hundreds of thousands of planets, like the one we are inhabiting. Hundreds of thousands of planets in each universe. The mundaners are more or less captivated by the unlimited expansion of the rays of the Lord. But the devotees are concerned more with his personal form, which is everything, from which everything is emanating. Janmadi Asya Yata, Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. As the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disk, the Brahmajyoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost spiritual planet of the spiritual sky. The immeasurable spiritual sky is full of spiritual planets, named Vaikunthas, far beyond the material sky. The mundaners have insufficient information of even the mundane sky, so what can they think of the spiritual sky? Therefore, the mundaners are always far, far away from them. Even if in the future they're able to manufacture some machine whose speed may be accelerated to the velocity of the wind or mind, the mundaners will still be unable to imagine reaching the planets in the spiritual sky. So the Lord in his residential abode will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem. But for the devotees, the Lord will always be available as an associate. In the spiritual sky, his opulence is immeasurable. The Lord resides in all the spiritual planets, the innumerable Vaikuntha planets, by expanding his plenary portions along with his liberated devotee associates. But the impersonalists who want to merge in the existence of the Lord are allowed to merge as one of the spiritual sparks of the Brahmajyoti. They have no qualifications for becoming associates of the Lord, either in the Vaikuntha planets or in the supreme planet, Goloka Vrindavan, described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhava, and here in this verse as the Swadharma of the Lord. This Madhava or Swadharma is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15:6 as follows: Natadva Sayate Suryo Nata Shamko Napavakaha Yadgadva Nani Vartate Tadama Paramam Mama. The word Swadharma does not require any sunlight or moonlight or electricity for illumination. That Dharma or place is supreme, and whoever goes there never comes back to this material world. The Vaikuntha planets and the Goloka Vrindavan planets are all self-illuminating, and the rays scattered by those Swadharma of the Lord constitute the existence of the Brahmajyoti. As further confirmed in the Vedas, like the Mundaka 2:10, Hatha 2:15.
Can you speak up, please?
Huh?
Can you speak up?
Oh, I can hear myself just fine.
No, I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know.
Is it on?
It's on.
It's on. Looks like it. The Vaikuntha planets and the Goloka Vrindavan planets are all self-illuminating, and the rays scattered by those Swadharma of the Lord constitute the existence of the Brahmajyoti. As further confirmed in the Vedas, like the Mundaka 2:10, Hatha 2:15, and Shvetashvatara Upanishads 6:14. That's too high, isn't it?
No, now we can
That's
hear
fine.
you. Before it was like
Okay.
you were far away.
Okay, I wasn't used to it anymore. Okay. Natata suryo batina chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhati kutoyam agni tameva bantam anubhati sarvam tasyavasa sarvam idam vibhati. In the Swadharma of the Lord, there is no need of sun, moon, or stars for illumination, nor is there need of electricity, so what to speak of ignited lamps? On the other hand, it is because those planets are self-illuminating that all effulgence has become possible, and whatever there is that is dazzling is due to the reflection of that Swadharma. One who is dazzled by the effulgence of the impersonal Brahmajyoti cannot know the impersonal transcendence. Therefore, in the Ishopanishad 15, it is prayed that the Lord shift his dazzling effulgence so that the devotee can see the real reality. It is spoken thus: Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham tatvam pusham apavrinu satya dharmaya drishtaye. O Lord, you are the maintainer of everything, both material and spiritual, and everything flourishes by your mercy. Your devotional service, or bhakti yoga, is the actual principle of religion, satyadharma, and I am engaged in that service. So kindly protect me by showing your real face. Please therefore remove the veil of your Brahmajyoti rays so that I can see your form of eternal bliss and knowledge. Born in the darkness of ignorance, my spiritual master will open my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge and offer my respectful obeisances unto him. I hope you heard well enough. It sounded fine to me. I had no idea, so I hope you could hear what I was reading up to.
It was really hard.
Huh?
Like, it was like you were off in the distance.
It's better now.
Yeah,
It's much
okay.
clearer now.
Okay. So, sorry.
We won't let it happen again.
No, we won't.
It was on, but I guess it was
Yeah.
further down. Lots of points I saw passing through here. That one thing, the reality is separate. Actually, 4 different places are mentioned. 4 different realities are mentioned. There is the spiritual world, which consists of 2 parts. There's Goloka Vrindavan and there's Vaikuntha planets. Goloka Vrindavan is the topmost, and there's Vaikuntha planets. And then there's, in the Brahmajyoti, there's the Brahmajyoti and then the shadow place, the material world. So there's 4 different places. And in one sense, it seemed like the Vaikuntha planets in Goloka Vrindavan were like on one side of the group, and the Brahmajyoti and the material world on the other side. But then on the other hand, the Brahmajyoti comes from the Vaikuntha planets in Goloka Vrindavan. So it's part, but if you're there, it's because you're not a devotee. If you're in the Brahmajyoti. Because you don't want the personal form of the Lord. You just want to merge with that light. And the point is made in the purport that mundane people, mundane scientists, mundane people are enamored with the effulgence of the Brahmajyoti. Well, we don't really see directly the effulgence of the Brahmajyoti itself in this world, but maybe a great yogi can get there. But we believe, people believe in that when they say go to the light in the movies, and somebody's dying, they say go to the light as if that's going to help. You go where you're going to go, and it doesn't matter what somebody next to you says, tells you to go to. But anyway, they believe there's a light that you go to, and they're fascinated by that. And they also study all the lights, everything luminous in the dark shadow of the mundane world, the material world. Everything comes from the Brahmajyoti, it's like a reflection. So we have the sun, we have lights, we have stars, we have the moon, we have fire, electricity. These things are all like little bits of the Brahmajyoti reflected in or allowed to shine in or something. You have little bits of light. And everybody, the scientists are always studying these things. They're fascinated by that. And they want to go to the light. People want to read the Lord, want to go to Krishna. But speaking in general, modern people want to go to the light. They have this, kind of romantic notion that they'll die and go to the light. They want to merge, but they haven't merged up to that point. They've been enjoying their bodies, enjoying their senses. So why are they going to merge with the light? They're going to get another body. But that's what they think. So that's the fascination. And Monday, the Brahmajyoti and the material world are both for souls who don't want to recognize or serve the form of the Supreme Lord. So now the Vaikuntha is still not as high as Goloka Vrindavan. They're not equal. Goloka Vrindavan is the topmost. And that's where Krishna is his real self. And that's where people are, the souls are totally dedicated to loving and pleasing Krishna. And that's all they want. And they're always happy with Krishna in a very personal, intimate way. And depending on what kind of relationship. The Vaikuntha planets are a little bit removed. You just see, you don't have the top 3 kind of rasas there, the parental friendship and conjugal. You don't have that. In the Vaikuntha planets, it's more like awe and reverence or neutral awe and reverence or serving. Kind of in the mood of awe and reverence. You have rules and boundary lines and stuff. So it's a little more formal and limited because the souls who are there are kind of limited. They're going to be only so surrendered to Krishna. I saw, if I had time, I didn't have time to look it up, but I have it written down somewhere that Prabhupada said, I think it's right in one of his books, that Vaikuntha is for souls who have not all the way woke up. Not all the way. Because our constitutional position is always described as being in Goloka Vrindavan. Well, only one exception in this description is Vishnu. It said that he is meant to see the Lord in his forearm form. But every other place it says. So I wonder if that's like, a stepping stone for Vishnu too or something, because that was his love at that level. I don't know, but most of the time when Prabhupada talks about our constitutional position, he means some form in the Loka Vrindavan, that we are a parent or a servant, or a cowherd boy or cowherd girl in the Loka Vrindavan. That's our, or some, maybe some animal serving Krishna that way. But somehow we all, when I saw another place, this one devotee was really good at gathering these things and posting them. So I saw another place where that everybody originally comes from Goloka Vrindavan, not from Vaikuntha, but from Goloka Vrindavan. That's where all souls originate from. And depending, perhaps, I don't know if there's such a thing as a soul who just doesn't want to serve Krishna that much, but so backs up a little bit and goes to Vaikuntha. I don't know if that happens. I guess that doesn't pertain to here because we're falling all the way. But so here we are in the material world, and if you don't agree to love Krishna's form and serve Krishna's form, as we have in ISKCON, in the Hare Krishna movement, and in Vaishnavism in general, where you agree to do devotional service to Krishna in his form, then otherwise we cannot access that form. I mean, it's so strong. Krishna is so strong. His Maya, his illusory energy is so strong we cannot get out of it by our own power. Well, I don't want to serve Krishna, but I want to see. I want to come and go there without actually serving Krishna. Nope, you won't even be able to understand it. You won't be able to conceive of its existence. His Maya is so strong. But once we agree to begin this process of chanting his names, which are attributes of personal form, the names, and because when you chant the names, you are picturing the form and you are asking to serve that form. If we're willing to do that, once we begin on this path, then we can actually start to conceive of how Krishna is Krishna. Only partial. Of course, we cannot, Krishna is unlimited, we cannot conceive totally, but we can conceive with loving hearts. We can understand, we can paint the picture of it, and have deities like that. So the descriptions are there in the books. If we're willing to read the books, if we're willing to accept these descriptions, then in our heart, this thing can grow, this understanding. But for those who are not willing, Krishna is far, far away. Even though he is so near, he's in your heart. He expands all his... In a way, Krishna is so far away. Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan. Only he comes here once in a while as Krishna in Vrindavan, India, and exhibits his pastimes once every few millennia or something like certain, once in a day of Brahma, which is a long time apart. And otherwise there is opportunity for Vishnu worship. But Krishna comes so that there will be known that there is a Goloka Vrindavan, there is Krishna, the cowherd boy, who's very intimate. It's so that we can be attracted to that. Otherwise, Krishna is in the heart as Lord Vishnu, his formal aspect. Same Krishna, but different Krishna. He's not personally present, but he is. I mean, it's inconceivable that Krishna expands. Like last night, Prabhupada was teaching in the class that Ravindra was reading. That Prabhupada was teaching how Krishna doesn't have to do anything. He has nothing to do. He has no duties. He has no job. He has nothing to manage. All his expansions, his energies, and his servants do everything. So Krishna doesn't even create. You think God is the creator. Well, the topmost God is Krishna. The topmost aspect of God is Krishna. He doesn't create. He expands himself, and there's Mahavishnu. And you know what? Mahavishnu creates out of the eternally existing inferior energy. He creates the modes, the different senses and sense objects, the different potential, the different elements, the different potential and rules and physical laws and possibilities, and then Lord Brahma does the creating as his servant. Lord Brahma is the Jiva soul, usually, unless there's no Jiva soul qualified, then Lord Vishnu will expand himself again and be Brahma. But Brahma does the actual creating out of the materials and the blueprints given to him. And He is way above anything we can understand. So, and Krishna himself does not have to do this. He just plays with his friends. He just is, has Radharani and the cowherd girls and the cowherd boys and Mother Yashoda and unlimitedly. And in fact, they expand themselves so that trillions and trillions and gazillions of souls are up there, and everyone who has pure love for Krishna gets to be close to Krishna. And it's not like, a million ages pass by and finally my turn comes, I see Krishna, because there's only one Krishna and there's gazillions of us. It's not like that. Krishna expands himself unlimitedly, makes himself available to everybody. And then if you don't want to love him and you get an idea you want to be like him, then you have to come down here, but he doesn't give us up. He comes with us in our heart. And he's so near, he's in every atom. He's in our hearts. He's in the hearts of those around us. He's in the hearts of the germs. He's so near. And his personal form as Vishnu. And yet, totally inaccessible to the atheist, to someone who just doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand or serve him. Has no idea. He's far, far away from them. But for the devotee, even Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan is near. Because in the books and the mind and the heart, is near when one becomes a devotee. Very, very mysterious. And this word problem that turns out twice there, that the problem is always a problem for the non-devotees, and that's in the purport too, in the verse and in the purport. So, the Lord in his residential abode will always be a myth or a mysterious problem for the non-devotees, for the materialists. Mysterious problem, always trying to figure out what could God be? Could there be a God? How come things exist and we don't know how they came into existence like that? Why do people believe in God? What's in them that they believe? So, always a mysterious problem. It would be easier if there was no God, because then he could really do whatever he pleased. But then there's the problem of death, which in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals to Arjuna his universal form, how he pervades the universe, and he reveals himself as the form, the unlimited form, all the super soul forms and so on, all this that in the universe that and Arjuna is overwhelmed, and he prays to Krishna, who are you? What's your mission? And I thought we were just friends, and here this is like overwhelming. This is frightening. And Krishna says, in the universal form, he says, time I am the destroyer of all the worlds. Everyone you see will be killed. So, except for you Pandavas and so on. So he identifies himself as time and death. So in that way it's said that for an atheist, Krishna comes to him in the form of death. So it's a problem. How come we gotta die? Death is a problem. Try to figure out medicine better and everything. Try to extend life. Try to avoid death and don't talk about it. And because death means what? The annihilation of my existence or what? It's a problem. And that's Krishna. And why do we have death? Because we didn't want to worship Krishna, so he put us here, and he's in total charge. He's in total charge. We cannot get near him unless we learn to surrender. We cannot get out of death. And so they rationalize, well, death is a natural part of life. It's nice. And it's not really nice. There's very few nice ways to die, mostly bad ways to die. And then you got to do it again, because they don't believe that. But there's evidence for reincarnation, though. Even sometimes the atheists believe in reincarnation, like Kamsa and Hiranyakashipu, they knew very well about reincarnation, but that they didn't want to surrender to Krishna. So there's somebody in the Bhagavad Gita, after Krishna gets done explaining to Arjuna about the difference between the soul and the body, said, well, even if you just believe that there's always reincarnation, if you don't believe there's ever any release or anything higher than just karma, well, so what? You're going to die and be born again. And die and be born again. So even atheists can believe in reincarnation. So if there's reincarnation, that's cool. You know, it's cool and more interesting and everything, but you still don't have to surrender to God. You know, so reincarnation is cool by itself to an atheist. But they can never approach Krishna. It's so tight, it's so perfect, this prison. If you don't want to worship Krishna, it's a prison you cannot get out of. And like I said, there's not very many good ways to die. It's actually not so nice, in spite of what people will say in their rationalization. I don't mind about that. Well, would you mind if I offered it to you right now? Yeah, it's okay. They say. So, let's see what other. Actually, there's more stuff. Personal. There's a lot of space in this purport to different quotes about how in the spiritual world there's no need of lights because it's self-illuminating. And this effulgence is, okay, so it's mentioned in the purport, the mundaners are very much enamored of this effulgence. So they like the light, but the light will cover. If you don't serve Krishna, if you're not willing to love Krishna, the light covers Krishna. You can't see through it. And so in the Sri Upanishad, it's requesting that to be able to see past the light, that the light will part and you can see the form of Krishna, because that's what we're all looking for. So you may have some, in your spiritual progress, you may have seen the light, but praying to see the personal form of the Lord. The Sri Upanishad is a nice book for people to make a bridge between the impersonal to the personal, because it talks about well, spiritual principles of how you should live your life. And then it starts talking about the Lord, but then there's this prayer. Let me see past your dazzling effulgence, just to see you. So it's a kind of a bridge from impersonalism to personalism. I think I'm going to stop here and see if there's any discussion. Yes.
I have two questions connected to each other. So the first question, just could never understand. Dhruva Loka, it's Vaikuntha Loka, right? It's Vaikuntha planet.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time it's a pole star, which is in our universe. As I understand, in the material universe we have pole star. So in Vedic scriptures, pole star is considered to be beyond universe. Or how to understand it? That I see a contradiction that Dhruva Loka is eternal Vaikuntha planet, and at the same time it's pole star, which is in our material universe. So I don't understand it.
Well, also Vrindavan, India, is non-different from Goloka Vrindavan. And yet, it's in this universe, and this universe is all going to be wrapped up and dissolved and go back into the, non-differentiated, what do you call it, pradana, I think? And so, but if it's non-different, it's there too. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know the exact answer, but it's only, Dhruva Maharaj is only going to have a very long, long time there. I don't think that's like eternal. The universe is going to be wrapped up. It is a Vaikuntha planet, perhaps like an embassy. Huh? What?
There's another way to look at it.
What?
That this universe is in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
It's just a cloud in the spiritual world. So that planet, it can, this is a cloud. The cloud evaporates. That planet stays where it is in that sky.
But isn't Dhruva's time there going to be really, really long,
No.
but not limited, but not?
It's forever.
It's forever?
It's forever.
Okay.
So in other words, we're in the spiritual sky.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're in a cloud in the spiritual sky.
Yeah.
So the cloud evaporates. The spiritual sky is there.
So pole star is not material or cosmic?
No, it's not material. It's a spiritual. It's like a planet.
Okay. But it's pole star. Because pole star we know is in our universe, the sun.
The North Star,
Krishna?
isn't it? They call it that.
This is how
That's the
what
same.
comes to mind when I was this, I watched these things on the videos of memories and problems, and this one devotee lady was asking about this Maharaj, how he could rule the entire Earth planet. And then Prabhupada made the point, sometimes by our teeny intelligence or teeny brains, we cannot fathom how these things can happen, but they do happen. So sometimes it's just I know it's hard to accept things as they are in the scriptures rather than think about how I can solve the problem.
I want to know what to accept. Should I accept that pole star is material or the Dhruva Loka has material?
My understanding is eternal because I remember from the purport, I'll probably explain that when everything else is annihilated, that also that Dhruva Loka will remain there.
And then how can we see pole star in the sky? Because we can't see spiritual world, but how can we see it?
How can you see Vrindavan, India?
Now, Vrindavan is different than I understand because it's manifested here.
But the real Vrindavan is not at the same level.
It's just like, just what are you seeing when you look at the pole star?
Yeah.
You just see
A point.
light, you know. I mean, you're not seeing Dhruva or the inhabitants of the place, Dhruva, but you're just seeing, just like you go to Vrindavan, I see Seva Kunj, I see Govardhan Hill. But I'm not seeing
The real.
I haven't, entered into that world.
So
So it depends on your consciousness and your heart.
I don't know if it's the same with the pole star, but Vrindavan, India is non-difficult. If you're in that consciousness, you're in the local Vrindavan. But it's here, even though it's so far apart, physical space, so far away, yet one, connected. It's like in one dimension it's installed together, and in another dimension it's separated. So we can't understand these different dimensions and how they connect and how they don't connect. Like sometimes the heavenly planets are manifested on Earth in some past time, and then they say it's this place in India, like it's in the heavenly planets. So things are connected in ways that we don't understand. That in some other dimension, things are the same that we perceive as different. They're in the same place. This is kind of
the soul also is not. The soul isn't. The material body is the machine. The soul is not ever really contaminated.
Yeah.
It's just in this machine. So the soul isn't diseased when I get it. Or the soul doesn't grow old. The soul is there.
In some places I've seen that the soul doesn't really leave. When the soul falls, the soul doesn't leave. The soul is just that activity is just on hold, and the soul is in a different consciousness, which is like a different place. And it's very
They used to use an example when I first joined that, and I think Prabhupada used it, that like sometimes in the class, you nod off, and then all of a sudden you wake up and go up, and you're like, it seems like you don't know how much time has passed. Sometimes when you're asleep, you just go like this, and then you wake up, and it's like, maybe it's just, and literally, it will be like that. Even though we've been here a gazillion, I don't know what a gazillion is, but I heard that several times in the last half an hour. I'm starting to think it's gazillion more or less than a million, because
it's
more. It's a G. No, but it's a G, and a million is a M.
Yeah.
So trillion's more than a million.
Billion is
Do we do it by
a gazillion's a lot of trillions.
But B is a billion. That's more than a million. So I don't know, gazillion. So there's also the zillion. So Canada they said 7.
Gazillion is even worse than a zillion.
So
anyway, what was I saying?
You were saying.
So that when you fall
asleep,
when you're it seems like it'll when you wake up, it'll be like,
I'm back.
What happened?
Material time expands. It's like a little, like in a cartoon, you got a balloon of all these words, and it goes out a little point to the mouth. But material time is like that. We're at this little point. It's in the material world. It's just a little point of time, like a little flash. And yet we step out of it, and it expands, and all these eons go through in these lifetimes, and everything. We come back, and it's.
And what's that about time is conspicuous?
Yeah, material time is conspicuous by its absence.
Because it's not in the spiritual world.
It's not in the spiritual world. Yeah, okay.
As an amateur astronomer, that pole star that we talk about here is not the pole star where Dhruva's at.
What?
Can you say again?
Oh, because the axis wobbles or something like that.
Yeah, that's a double star.
Yeah, but we don't know.
And they're actually saying that that's not the original pole star. It's changing.
What does it mean?
Well, the axis of the Earth changes and the pole star is angled.
But the real pole star where Dhruva Maharaj is at is
That's
the real
almost,
pole star.
way too mundane.
No, but no, I mean, because that's
But that's
also my
like
question.
that's like Vrindavan is not the Vrindavan of reality,
Yeah.
spiritual reality.
But also like
It's actually above it.
like in Vedas it said, for example, that this planetary system is they different there than us and what we know from science, like there are different order and like the planet, like sun actually goes around the Earth, not other way around, like
Right.
you know, or that there is Rahu planet and all this stuff. So I thought maybe even like I know from science that pole star is like this. Maybe in Vedic science there's something else. Like for example, something with Krishna Prabhu says. I don't know. That's sort of my question also. Maybe difference.
As far as which revolves around what, you can measure it either way. I mean, you can measure it from mathematically, you can measure it as if the Earth is the stable part, because to us it's stable, and everything is going once a day around the Earth. You can measure it that way. What's the difference?
A Vedic
Because
science.
the Vedic scripture it said that it goes around all the universe. So I think I just read in it. It was very hard to understand. It goes around all the planets, not only Earth. Yeah, it's very weird. It's like there's this chakra or something, mandala.
Yeah.
It's
And
very.
I heard a Vedic scientist / philosopher / Brahmin say that either way, it's all moving.
The whole thing's moving. Yeah, everything's moving in relation to.
So this is going like that, but then that's going like that.
It's so difficult because
This
there's
thing-
still a controversy about. They got the Temple of Vedic Planetarium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got that built. The structure is built, and they're working on the inside. They're still arguing about how to actually make a planetarium in it.
So did you hear that the Indian government landed on the dark side of the
And it
moon?
didn't work.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
I didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear about the not working.
Yeah, but Moody was so
Yeah.
understanding. He patted the head scientist on the back. He said, "Be of courage. Be of courage. Take courage." And because the lander, several miles above the surface, went blank. They got cut off. They got disconnected.
Well, maybe that's because the
And that was millions of dollars they spent on
aliens
this.
blasted it to bits because they were about to see an alien encampment.
Maybe
They're
because,
coming.
maybe because that was where they wrote their fraud. You know, we had ours, and now they wanted to write theirs as we almost made it on the
I
dark side.
don't know that. But we can't say the dark side of the moon. All sides of the moon get sunlight at different times. The far side of the moon to us, but we don't.
But we
As it
never
turns,
see.
as it turns, it's just right, so we don't get to see that. But it may be in light sometimes.
And you know, there's a mathematical relationship of distance and size and things like that. It comes out to 108.
Oh.
But according to Vedic numbers or
Yeah.
according to numbers?
Uh-oh. Might
That's
be
because
American. It might be
because
Western.
because it's in Vedas, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it said that moon is so far, it's
Right.
maybe it's even further than sun or something.
It is
It says
further.
higher. It says higher, but there's a plane.
And
The
that's
sun
a
is
plane.
on the plane, and the moon is above the plane.
So
So it doesn't mean necessarily that the moon is
Distance.
further away
The
from
problem
us.
is it was further away.
Yeah, but
Further
That's
from-
right.
further
further away
higher,
from the
higher from the plane. But when he's
Further
talking
from
about the plane, the
The
moon
plane.
is higher than the plane because
It's further away.
the
Yeah,
plane, the plane.
but the sun is further away from it. If you were going to have a string from here to the moon, a string
I
from here to the
understood the
sun.
reference. I understood.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys are saying. I'm saying
He was making some very
The plane,
clever,
the plane.
mundane reference.
The plane.
So I had the second question connected to Dhruva and other stuff. So you were saying that about Vrindavan and Goloka, that about Vaikuntha and Goloka, that Vaikuntha is more like if you're not fully awakened. But I can't really, I want some elaboration because like Srimad Bhagavatam is full of, there are only devotees who are from Vaikuntha, like Prahlad, Dhruva, even mother of Kapila, Devabhuti. And even like devotees like Hanuman, they're all from Vaikuntha. So I can't really understand that if they're not fully awakened or it's just some special position, some special rasa or something.
It may be expanded for the purpose of those pastimes.
No,
And they expanded to Vaikuntha for the purpose of
From the
pastimes in Vaikuntha.
from the local.
Because the personalities like Hanuman and Mother Devaki, Mother Kapila, these are transcendental personalities that like Radharani. You know, Radharani expands as the goddess of fortune.
But goddess of fortune is doing penances to get into the Ras Lila.
Yeah, but because the goddess of fortune is the goddess of fortune, and you don't have fortune in Goloka
She
Vrindavan.
pronounced it.
But it's a pastime, because the goddess of fortune is also Radharani's expansion.
Yeah.
But in that expansion, she is that. So she has that desire, she exhibits it. It's all pastime though, because it's not like the goddess of fortune is not all the way woke up. It's not like saying Vishnu is not all the way woke up, because it's just expansion for pastimes in different levels and different portions.
I think you're walking on really thin ice.
You think what?
You're walking on thin ice.
I'm walking on thin ice? Why?
I mean, you're
What's
saying they're not Vaikuntha, they're in Vaikuntha, but they're not fully awake.
No, I'm saying it's like saying that. It would be wrong.
Well, what? Oh, it would be wrong.
Yeah, individual souls in Vaikuntha. You make it to Vaikuntha, you may not be fully awake. But if you are Vishnu Tattva or Shakti Tattva, expanded for the pastimes of Vaikuntha as well as Goloka Vrindavan, but in those pastimes of Vaikuntha, you're not fully awake, but not fully manifested. You're fully awake, but you're not fully manifested. For the souls, individual jivas are the ones who are not fully awake.
Maybe we could just say differently now.
You like that better?
There are Vishnu has 60 qualities and Krishna has 64 qualities, like that. Yeah.
So that's
I'm
different.
guessing.
What did you say, Prabhu? You said different.
Well, I wasn't talking about Vishnu, I was talking about
Oh.
the answers. But anyway, because like somebody like Hanuman, he's also in Chaitanya Lila. And Chaitanya Lila is, yeah, exactly. But also Lord Chaitanya praises his attachment as Hanuman to Arjuna. And and Ayodhya is in the Vaikuntha sky. But also, as Yogendra was reading in that class in the morning, he mentioned that at one point he was, Prabhupada was, when he translated the verse from the Brahma Samhita, indicating this, Radha and Krishna, he also then started to talk about Ram and Sita in the same breath. So Ayodhya is a Vaikuntha planet, and that has conjugal relation, that has friendship relation.
Yeah, true.
So the point is that it's so variegated and unlimited that you can't just make like a black, this category, there's blendings, and you can be in servitude and in friendship, or friendship in servitude. So, but in general, I think your point was,
Yeah. Well, in the Vaikuntha, the servitude is a strong role. You can be friends, and it can be. I don't know if there's anybody who has conjugal relationship with Vishnu except goddesses of fortune, but you could be like friends, but your friendship is very very formal.
But even Vishnu, when we talk about Kshiradakshai, Garbhodakshai, Varanadakshai, Vishnu, they're temporary.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an eternal expansion of the Lord. That's only while the material universe is.
Well, they expand from the Chaturvyuha.
Yeah, but I know that the Paramatma, and which one is the Paramatma? The Kshiradakshai, yeah. So he is, Prabhupada says he's temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no need for him to be. And another point is, those people that have merged into the Brahma Jyoti, Paramatma's with them. When we say the Brahma Jyoti is filled with the spirit souls, Jiva, it's also filled with Paramatmas. And so they're trying to be impersonal, they're trying to be without, they want to merge and relate, but they have a personal expansion of God with them.
So they can't get away.
Which they don't see.
So it's a contradiction. The whole thing is, there's so many aspects of Krishna consciousness and understanding Krishna that you have to accept and with full faith, because there's so many things that appear to be contradictions, but they're all true.
Well, that wouldn't be such a contradiction. I don't see That I never thought of. I thought that I guess it would be.
Well, they're impersonalists. They're impersonalists, but they have a personal relationship with Paramatma's personal integrity.
There are atheists who have that too, but they don't. If you don't see, then you don't see it.
Exactly.
In Brahmajyoti, you can't see what you don't believe in.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying that even there, when they think they're fully independent,
They're not.
they're not.
So it's not liberation.
It's not liberation. No.
It's not
So-
liberation.
It's like the concept that is it this or is it that? And then Krishna consciousness many times is both. Or neither.
But it's liberated from, and maybe you get liberated from your karma and get to start over or something, I don't know, but I mean, that's why Krishna sends the demons when he kills them. He sends them there and frees them from all their karma. So that's liberation, but it doesn't necessarily mean they become
Because he's
powerful.
But I'd like to go back to the quote that Krishna made.
Yeah.
And it was a quote from Mataji asked that question in Australia, and then Madhava Swami interpreted it to Prabhupada. He couldn't understand what she was saying, and Prabhupada said, "Why are you thinking like this?"
Am I thinking like what? What was
Well, the
can't
point
remember
that she was
what
making
exactly.
about how can someone just be an emperor of the entire planet? How can one man be in charge of the whole planet? And Prabhupada said, "Why are you worrying about this? Don't think like that. Don't think like that. Don't worry about these things. Just worry about chanting good rounds."
Well, why would he say that? Then that's an honest question. Why would he say this? That the
No, he said.
Yeah.
She asked,
Yeah.
how is it that there could be one man who's ruling the whole planet? And Prabhupada said, why are you asking this question?
And it had to be interpreted to Prabhupada through someone?
But he couldn't hear her.
It wasn't an Australian accent.
Can you not hear me?
Why would Prabhupada say don't ask that question?
He said it's a
mundane question.
It's a futile question. It's like sometimes devotees, like one time Gurudas started asking intricate, intimate past questions about the gopis. And Prabhupada said, I don't know, why don't you go there and find out?
Whoa.
Yeah, but this,
In
we
other
just
words,
see-
let's just deal with the fact of understanding our own,
yeah.
situation
Right.
and what to do instead of trying to
Figure out how deep.
fantasy daydreams.
A kind of a mundane question in. Well, let's see, knew her heart and knew something about the way she was asking it, because this is really basically kind of a mundane question, and just in those days it was possible to have one person ruling a planet. It's kind of a mundane
Well, you
question.
said that, but she didn't. The Prabhupada
Yeah.
just wanted to
Yeah.
cut the knot.
Yeah.
Just looking for some, something, how do I change that around?
Yeah.
But it's also like discussing pastimes of the world.
Yeah.
If devotee asks, the devotee is not challenging. How can one person rule the earth if it's in a different spirit, You may say the glories of the person who are ruling the earth. That he was so powerful, he was so, had all good qualities. So like this, it becomes a discussion of pastime, but it's challenging question and it's different, but we can still ask
So obviously Prabhupada
You might have seen
perceived
her.
something.
Yeah, he must have perceived something special.
Yeah.
She needed to be answered that way.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Prabhupada many times, you would say the same thing, and he would answer it in completely different ways.
Right.
Like Gurudas, he's asking
Right.
about
Yeah,
how can we can understand the Krishna's
exactly.
God in two different
At
situations.
two different times, and he always got it wrong.
What was that?
But Prabhupada said, how do you know that Krishna is God? And people were saying, because you told us, Prabhupada, and he goes, no, that could be lying. This or that. And then someone, I think Dinanath said, because I feel that Krishna is God. He said, yes, that's right. So
There you go.
and Gurudas had given a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, and I said, well, maybe not that. And then later, Prabhupada asked that same question, and the first time, Gurudas got it wrong. So he said, now I got it. I'm going to say, because Prabhupada, because I feel that Krishna is God. Oh, what is your feelings? And then someone quoted, the thing that he said the first time.
So the same verse of Bhagavad Gita, someone quoted.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And Prabhupada said this is the right answer.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Oh. That's sweet.
It is.
He said,
Well, when I brought those monks into meeting Srila Prabhupada, I had just seen that PTG article about the Franciscan monks in Australia. And Prabhupada said, Christ, Christos, Krishna. And they all chanted. So when I brought them in, they were doing what they call Japa Yoga. They lived in Commerce, Georgia.
oh yeah.
And you go there at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're at a retreat.
Yeah, they're doing good.
And,
They're
so they
I've
were
been there.
chanting, 3 of them, they were chanting, on like the rosary, and I think one of them had japa beads, and he was chanting Jesus Christ. When I introduced him, Prabhupada instead of doing what he did with the Franciscans, he just went right to, he said, where in the Bible it says Jesus is God? And it really opened up a whole nice discussion, and it was really, it's there. I think it's there in the conversations. I know it's in the conversation book. So I was expecting, Prabhupada was thinking this is really, and we'd have a moment there where we'd all be chanting. Instead, we got into a philosophical discussion.
Yeah.
Jesus, where does it say that Jesus is God? And they, one of them tried to say, well, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And then he said, yes, they're one and different. And he pointed to this Indian man, and there was very few Indian families in the Atlanta area. I don't even think this person was from Atlanta. But the wife was there, the father was there, and the son was there. And he said, you see this woman? See this father and the son? They are one. Is it not true? And he goes, yes. But you see this woman? She treats the father one way, and she treats the son in a different way. So they are one, but they are different. And it's based on relationship. So that was one example we gave. That she's not going to treat the father and the son the same way. So we shouldn't treat the father and the son the same way. We treat the son one way and the father another.
To say, like we sometimes say, that you chant any name of God and it's the same, Yahweh, Jehovah, Buddha, and all these things. Is this the most beginning way to connect with people? Because actually, if you go into it very deeply, on mature levels, there's differences. Maybe Yahweh is
well, we know, but also we know 1,000 Vishnus equals 1 Krishna. 3 Rams equals 1 Krishna. So we know there's distinction, but it's pious. It's a pious thing to do. It's better than chanting, some, just
I'm saying that as I've gone along in my
pop star singer, Justin
in my path, I was a Christian before, and then I became a Hare Krishna, and so I had lots of questions. In the beginning, it's fine to say it's all one God and it's all the same and everything, just different names. But after a while, you have to start distinguishing. You have to have discrimination. So, well, this philosophy over here is not the same as this philosophy, and what is the exact difference? You have to, as you go along.
Well, when you talk to them, and I'm having this all the time with Colleen, but when you talk to somebody like Art, who really, that fellow that comes here, he's the monk.
Right.
The monk. His name is Art.
Right. You see them, they talk together, many things.
And when you hear the actual, what is the actual Siddhanta of quote unquote Catholicism and how it's morphed over the years, it really is not the same philosophy. Actually, they're impersonalists.
Yeah, but as you grow, you differentiate. But in the beginning, people need to hear that it's the same, so they have a little bit of
a connection,
assurance that they can go forward. And then, but after a while, you have to start distinguishing. You can't go your whole spiritual life saying, well, it's the same as Christianity.
Well, I'm meaning not the institution but what Jesus said on the Sermon on the Mount. That is a Vaishnava talk. He's saying, he's speaking just as a Vaishnava would speak.
The beginning level, like religious principles and how to walk in the path of faith, like that, but not really higher knowledge of who Krishna is.
He's also talking about tolerance. He's talking about, and Prabhupada said that he was willing to give his life for preaching. And he was preaching, okay, to a class of men that, like he used to say, Muhammad said, do not sleep with your mother. That's because they were sleeping with their mother. So he was telling, Jesus was saying, don't be a murderer, don't be a thief, don't be an adulteress. That he was trying to make them, moral people. And he told us, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. That was just to become a human being. That didn't make us Vaishnavas. That just made us human beings. The chanting of 16 rounds, to the extent that we can chant, that is the beginning process of becoming a Vaishnava. It is what a Vaishnava is.
But Jesus also said that these 10 commandments, they give you one more. So
He give you one more.
else.
Give you one more. And then that's where it comes
your
in.
neighbor as yourself, and love them like I love you.
You, exactly. And have no false gods before you. But also he said there's much more for you to know, but
I cannot. You're not ready.
And the Christians have it all sewn up because they first of all they say, well, Jesus said there's more to know. The Holy Spirit will come and teach you, but then you can't. But then they have it also that you can't accept anything from the Holy Spirit unless it's confirmed in the Bible. So in other words, nothing new is allowed.
Well, not all these many offshoots, and especially in the South, the Church of Christ, the Church of Christ as I see him.
I
the
see
Church
him.
of Christ as it is on this block over here. So I mean, they're, the Lord will come and speak to me. That whole thing about speaking in tongues. They think that Jesus comes to
If
them.
he speaks then through tongues or something, the message has to agree with the Bible or it isn't accepted.
And it has to be interpreted.
But then they just. But then was also the point is that, I mean, there's a big difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament, and there's a lot of Gospels that were thrown away.
Right.
And so also you just think about it, they started writing them 60 to 90 years after the fact. That means that if you think about this, that means that the people that were writing them knew the direct disciples of Jesus. But the direct disciples were dead. So it was the second generation that was writing it. And they knew they had to do it now because at least they had met people that knew Jesus.
But it's also, we can say, parampara system like in the beginning.
It is parampara.
I mean, in the beginning, they were not direct, or like they were writing. I mean, it could be transmitted also.
But there is something to the fact, even with the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that there's a point where there was one person left on the planet that had seen a direct disciple or a direct associate, was Nityananda. And he had just seen it for a moment. And that person was, they were all trying to have his association because of that significance. So
but just think if nobody had written down, the Prabhupada had not written books, if nobody had recorded him, what a mess we would be in trying to remember what he said. And it's only it's not 7 years.
It already is.
Yeah, but we have that to go back to. We have that. The books
they've
been edited, but they have not really been changed in meaning. I mean, little details, but they have not really changed.
No, they haven't changed.
Huh?
No, they haven't changed them.
No.
And some of those places probably actually we were saying, but you hear probably saying they should be correct. So, the grammatic part of it, but we have his tapes, we have his lectures.
Yeah. So we have all that. We had gone 7 years without any of that, and then tried to write it down.
It's written,
Yeah, but what about the parampara before? They didn't have recordings. They didn't have.
Oh, I see.
So they wrote down books, though.
They
They're
Yeah,
writers.
it was also good, they didn't type it, so I will take a book and I will write it, but
That's what
copy.
describes.
Maybe I make a mistake and all this stuff. I mean, this is all material. We can't really talk. Like if we don't use this criteria to estimate our parampara, we can't really estimate other Christianity or something. We just know that Prabhupada said that it's not completely.
Yeah, Christianity has gone through so much mundane evolution, really. And
It's not
the
just
creed,
Christianity.
They
the
also say
Nicene
this about
Creed.
ours also. They say this about Gaudiya Vaishnava also. There are books by philosophers, scientists, historians that say like history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism in America. It's like already they write about evolution of it and
It's only
changing.
been superficially changed. We keep to the core. We don't change the core. In the Nicene Council, I think there were 2 Nicene Councils though. It's kind of
Yeah.
confusing which one it happened in, but there was some point where they voted on what the creed should be, and the words they chose for the creed, where they figured out what the philosophy is really supposed to be, the words they chose for the creed were not Bible words. They were not Bible verses, because it isn't really directly in the Bible exactly like that. So it was actually voted on, and they're the ones who say everybody else's religion is man-made. So, I mean, we have, our creed is made of quotes from the scriptures.
I mean, the thing is, though, is because we see how easy it is for things to be adulterated. And this is what was nice about Sureshwara's is good about his foundational acharya, and
Right.
why we put emphasis on understanding the Ramanuja line and the who's the other one? Madhava. We understand that because they've lasted so long, and there's there may be certain etiquette issues, but the actual philosophical points have remained concise. And so, and there's many spiritual masters representing that line from Ramanuja or Madhava. But they always refer to themselves as the follower of Ramanuja or Madhava. So if we don't adhere to that, and we start putting more emphasis on other, initiating gurus, the root or the seed of sectarianism within the house of Prabhupada is very quick, like weeds, will grow everywhere. There'll be competition between the different followers of the different Diksha gurus. It will destroy everything. And I'm not saying that one shouldn't be very dedicated to their particular representative, Srila Prabhupada, but what I'm saying is that we have to be very careful not to try to adulterate and try to put some overemphasis on one of Srila Prabhupada's representatives.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be envy, there'll be competition, and things will. We won't be able to see things clearly.
And that's why the importance of the founder acharya versus regular guru.
Right, the founder.
Because gurus after the founder acharya and after the great acharyas are only great as they follow them.
As they follow, right?
Yeah, so. Because they aren't, and just they start their own thing, that's not.
And that's why the Catholics are the real true good Christians.
Everybody else stood away.
There's 4 bona fide sampradayas.
Upon this rock I built my...
Yeah, right.
There's 4 bona fide sampradayas on this planet. Which one's Jesus in? He's not in any of them. So, yeah, he's a great teacher. He taught some
I
things.
said that's why the Catholics are
He taught some important things.
They're the real...
Yeah. Well, no, he was trying to... I don't understand Jesus Christ.
Well, he
I just know that
he
what
had some
prophets-
important points.
The Prabhupada was very, very, I just heard Yasomati Nandana, he challenged Prabhupada about Jesus Christ. He's Indian body, and he couldn't understand how, he should be, considered like an acharya or a guru. And when he heard Prabhupada discuss how he was willing to give his life, like Haridas or Nityananda, to preaching to the Jagai and Madhais, the way he preached in that way, sacrificing his own safety to expand God conscious principles. Prabhupada was saying that he's in our line. He's a true Vaishnava.
Because Vaishnava is not supported to teacher, you're not easier or anything.
That's right.
So it's,
Right. Therefore, you know, those disciples of Prabhupada that are not from India, they're also true acharyas. I mean, or gurus.
Mhm.
But there's one founder acharya in ISKCON.
Yeah.
And so if we don't follow anything else except for this one, because there may be some disciples of disciples who be good, but we follow Prabhupada, that's why we can follow Jesus, because he's not in his form.
But according to Mom, you know, they're our cousins, they're our relatives.
Yeah.
Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is the grandfather. He's
Yeah,
Prabhupada's spiritual master.
But if we decide that, okay, Prabhupada is under Bhaktisiddhanta, so let me follow the followers of Bhaktisiddhanta, get closer to their original thing, that's an offense, because we have to accept our founder Acharya as the bona fide representative, and he told us which things to follow.
Let us not forget that Srila Prabhupada, on many attempts, tried to encourage the Gaudiya Math to support him in America, and they refused to do so. So then he was forced to do, in order to establish a true religious institution according to the laws of this country, he had to create his own institution. And that's why he did it. And he wasn't authorized by the Gaudiya Math to set up a Gaudiya Math. He asked if he could set up a Gaudiya Math. And he asked them for money, and they refused. They ignored him. Even after that, he asked them to come and be a part of our preaching. And they wouldn't do it. Now, I'm not saying that that they're not, especially you see a lot of them in the memories talking very, they praising Srila Prabhupada and his work, and even now there's so many of them that have worked with ISKCON and helped in various places around the world. So that, and hopefully that we can all continue to work like that. But, when Prabhupada was asked, when anybody said anything that Prabhupada, you've done this, you've done that, he said, I've only followed the course of my spiritual master.
Mm-hmm.
You have all, my spiritual master has sent you all to help me. He never took credit for it, he always gave it to Bhaktisiddhanta.
You have to understand all these angles.
And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta.
Yeah. So, anyway. Hare Krishna.
Oh, yeah, good talk here. It's 5 to 9, 6 to 9. So,
Hare
thank you all very much.